So, in the meantime, I put a rocket together. So hopefully this is going to be the first in a new series of rocket lifters. This is Atlatl 1. Gets rid of those cute little red boosters, get rid of those things. It's kind of a 2.5 stage deal. Hey, look, we got volumetric clouds. Don't those just look all kinds of awesome? I am so glad we have those working in my mod install now. Yeah, Atlatl 1. Atlatl, I'll just spare you the effort of looking it up. This is an ancient, millennia-old spear-throwing device, which I thought was applicable as this rocket is designed around having this very, very useful, very capable upper stage, and the whole rocket is designed around getting that upper stage up into orbit with enough resources to do some good, such as, for example, this whole white cylinder thing. This is the payload. This is a docking adapter and a crew tunnel for my space station. This is their first practical payload in order to see if Atlatl 1 will work as designed. And here we go, going through the whole docking gymnastics, did the rendezvous, got to line up with the docking port. I love that docking alignment indicator on the nav ball. That is such a perfect tool. And I have to say, it worked flawlessly. This was the overall smoothest ever rendezvous and dock that I have ever personally done. The rocket worked as intended. This entire upper stage, I suppose maybe I should come up with a better name for it. Yeah, the upper stage for this is, its own independent little spaceship. There it is, leaving the space station, and it's disposable. I don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to get the thing down, survive through re-entry. No, go ahead and blow it up, man. It'll be cool. We'll have fireworks, and, there'll be clouds and sparks, and all the kids will clap and cheer, and it'll be just fine. So, Atlatl 1 is a functioning rocket. But it can only lift 1 ton, because I deliberately start small. It's my hope that that rocket is going to serve as a template for a series of lifters that we're going to build, and that's some of what we're going to work on today. So, yeah, that was what happened last time, and now what happens this time. Yeah, we'll do it live starting now. So, this rock, this NZK 674 Class D rock, whenever it was first discovered, we're here at we're in day number 4, and so 4 days ago it was discovered here. It's moved this far in 4 days. It's picking up speed. It's going to move faster, so it's probably going to cover this ground in, what, 2 days? Maybe 2.5 or something like that? I don't know. I'm not going to do the math. I think it's too late to do anything about it. That's what I think. I got to be just really honest with you. The whole asteroid mechanic game gimmick, whatever. I don't know. I'm not feeling it my own self. Maybe there are options. There are things you could do that could make that fun, but right now my whole plan is I'm going to ignore it. It's it's just like a few meters across. What is it, like maximum 18 meters across? That would make a dent if it, wherever it hit, but it's no kind of world-shattering catastrophe. It's, I hope it doesn't fall in your hometown. As long as it falls in somebody else's backyard, it'd be really not so terrible of a deal. My plan for the moment is I'm going to ignore them. And just not do anything. Okay, so the last 3 episodes where there's been a whole lot of flying around and responding to catastrophes and stuff, and that was fun, but the game has a balance of construction and destruction and planning and piloting. It's time that we get back and we do some more planning and construction. First, we'll pull this up. This is the example vehicle, Atlatl 1. So named because it can lift 1 ton up into orbit. This is what I put together, and realized that trying to make another better space plane lifting vehicle would be a whole lot of work. Here, let's pull some of these fairings off so we can see it. First off, with the fairings on there, oh, hang on, let me pull up here so we can really get a look at it. Doesn't that look cool? I think it looks cool. But here, let's pull those off. We don't need those right now. Okay, so Atlatl 1, the way this works, the initial stage, we have this one central main engine. In our first stage, it's running on kerosene and liquid oxygen. We're supplemented by, for a few seconds, actually 42 seconds, these small boosters here that give it a little bit of additional thrust right at takeoff. Yeah, those also running on kerosene and liquid oxygen. The upper stage runs on liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen in order to make this as lightweight as possible. You can see it's actually got, it works, it's got this teeny tiny little engine in there. But that is sufficient for everything that I need it to do. So, I mean, it's really simple. We have our H2 and oxygen, not H2, is it? Nope, H and O2 tank, and our little docking ports and RCS ports. You see that this is the part to hold the fairings. This is our probe core. That's our mech-jeb. Yes, I have transitioned to mech-jeb as a change that was long in coming. It just has features that the Kerbal Engineer is lacking, even though I've turned most of them off, as I despise all autopilots. But even without the autopilots, yes, mech-jeb does have many options which are useful. And this is part with the procedural tank. I've got this one's loaded up with monopropellant and batteries. And of course solar panels there too. And a docking port. So yeah, here's the one lesson learned from the previous fiasco. Instead of a decoupler that we're to attach, we are attaching our payload to a docking port here. And we're also just standard, we're going to carry a couple of tiny, these smaller docking ports on the side, just in case they turn out to be useful for whatever reason. In case I need to dock something to them to refuel in order to save somebody's life, you know? They weigh almost nothing, and it doesn't really hurt me to carry those around as a just-in-case measure. Okay, so I set this up. We'll pull my notebook out here. What I'm thinking of, list notes. Let's go with the Atlatl design goals, select and load. Okay, yeah, 2.5 stages. First stage boosters and orbital utility. Second stage. This is really the I consider this is the heart of the lifters series. Is actually we're just going to make a point of making the upper stage be have an general utility vehicle. It can dock. It is an orbital tug, you know. Entire upper stage and payload protected by fairings, therefore I don't have to make the upper stage aerodynamic. Grand total delta V of about 8,000. Let's go here. Let's pull out our delta V stats. Actually, for these delta V stats to make sense, here is how I was testing them. The same good old test weights mod from way back when. Okay, and yeah, I just decided that since we did various test runs on Atlatl 1, that the rest of the vehicle series, I just wanted to follow this basic template. We're looking for thrust-to-weight ratio of 1.3 at launch. This one actually does a little bit more than that. It'll first stage burn altogether for, around 3 minutes, maybe a little bit more. I figured out this arrangement for the tail fins, which I'm calling the X-wing, because it's about the same proportions. We have got this area is open to attach the boosters, then we have these arranged in X-wing, so we can attach our launch clamps onto there. The upper stage, we figured out thrust weight ratio about 1.4 works well. Once I wanted to reach a 200-kilometer orbit and still have roughly 500 meters per second delta V still in the tank. So altogether, the upper stage needs about 2,300 delta V, hydrogen, oxygen. Also, yeah, another thing, this is a very nice system that mech-jeb has, is it can tell you how much delta V total you can get out of your RCS. I figure about another additional 200 meters per second RCS delta V. And of course, the main docking port, the payload docking port, and a couple of smaller lateral ones. So in order to make it the next one that is coming up, we want to go for Atlatl 2. We're just going to start small. We're going to work our way up. Eventually, we'll be doing huge rockets. Don't start with the huge rockets. Start with the small ones. What changes do we need to do? Tell you what, first off, let's put the whole upper stage down on the ground. We're not looking at that right now. We'll actually go and get those out of the way. If I can click on it. I can't click on it. My God, no, no. Yeah, my upper stage, I want it to have a thrust to weight ratio of approximately 1.4 at the moment. In in vacuum it's 1.07, so it needs more thrust already. And I want it to have approximately 2300 delta V. At the moment, it's got 1676. So we need more thrust and we need more fuel in order to make this work. It's too much thrust to weight. Look at that. All the way up there, 2.09. But once we add fuel. Okay, these are things that I've been wanting to demonstrate how this works. These procedural parts. By the way, the procedural parts mod has updated to the point which I'd say that even though it is not technically, it doesn't have a full release, it's already more capable than the old stretchy tanks or stretchy SRBs mod. So, yeah, really, the only reason that I still have stretchy SRBs installed is because a couple of parts from that are comprised RCS tanks on my space station. That's it. For everything else, I've already moved over. We're using the procedural parts mod. Yeah, let's go up to like 1.5 meters, and that gives us more fuel. Yeah, it's full. What's our total delta V? Up to 2194. That's already real close. The thrust to weight ratio is dropping down. Give it one more click wider. Yeah, 1.625. Look at the end. 2487. That's already too much. Yeah, it's okay. I think we can get away with this being kind of a short and stubby one, right? Here, let's shrink it just a little bit like that, right? Thrust to weight ratio 1.75. I suppose that isn't too much. Let's just see what else I can do with some of these different rocket engines. What about this other engine? What about, yeah, these guys? Except, hang on, we need these to radially, or surface attach. That's what I wanted to say. But two of these guys, what will this do for us? If it'll just attach correctly. Come on, stop freaking out like that. Is it straight? Yes, it is straight. Action groups, liquid H2, liquid oxygen. Ooh, I like this thrust to weight ratio better. 1.59, that's still more than we had. And just about, yeah, and still 2422. Let's go ahead and shrink that down some. Maybe, let's shrink this one more notch like this. Yeah, like that. Okay, and just a little bit, tiny little bit of tweaking like that. Guess what? I've got exactly 2,300 meters per second. Except we're missing one thing here, aren't we? Also, I wanted this one to have 200 meters per second delta V's worth of RCS. So I need to go up here to my RCS tank, which is also a battery, and let's lengthen this thing a little bit. 150, 178, there's 206.2. How about that, huh? Of course, and now I probably need to make the other one bigger. Okay, but now we've lost some of our delta V, so let's make this a little bit longer again. And there's our thrust to weight ratio coming down as our delta V comes up. Thrust to weight ratio 1.37, I'd say that's close enough to our goal of 1.4. We can actually improve that. We have too much RCS again. Okay, so there's over 200, and we've got too much fuel again. Yeah, it's just faint little tweakings and all of these things, you know? Okay, 1.48. So we've got more delta V than we needed. Thrust to weight ratio is above what we wanted. Yeah, all our numbers are just above. Of course, there's, that's right, another thing. I thought that maybe these little static solar panels may not get done what I want them to. So I had a plan, which is I was going to do 2 of the extendable ones instead. Here's something I could do. Maybe this will be better because it'll avoid the RCS jets anyways. Pull that over there like that. Oh yeah, that looks better. Good, 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 good. Now, here, let's pull this thing up. Okay, you know what? The way I'm going to do this... Here, let's actually just stick it to this one engine temporarily. Because I'm going to need some more height. This, yeah, this is not going to connect to the engine. I actually want the attachment point to connect to the fuel tank up there. It needs more height. I hope this behaves itself. Please behave yourself. Like that. There we go. Now, obviously, this is going to have to change. This part's going to have to be bigger. Alright, let's stick just a single payload fairing on the side so we can keep an eye on it. And I want those to blend together, and I want the top of it to line up with the base of that other fairing. So it has kind of the illusion of being just one continuous seamless fairing. Like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, so for doing the math on this part, I believe I'm actually going to discard these guys. The actual red on the boosters, because I was looking at the whole color scheme, the way I want this to work. I just really simple went and made a few extremely simple solid color textures in there. I suppose I should have come up with a more descriptive name of the part. Okay, so this stage, yeah, we're going to keep the same basic configuration. That this part up top will be like, you know, sloped. It'll, you know, it's flares out, and this part will be just a regular cylinder. So let's go ahead and increase the dimensions of the bottom, increase the dimensions of the top. We want this top to line up. That's already real. Is that close enough for us? Okay, that works. Now let's increase the diameter of this one to match the base of the one on top. Just exactly like that. We want this one to have our sea level thrust. We want it, and we're looking at, yeah, stage 3 here. We want it to have a thrust to weight ratio of 1.3. And we want the total stage to have, looking over here, just the numbers that worked on the other one are in atmosphere delta V, approximately 5,000, and our vacuum 5,700. So all of that in mind, this engine ain't gonna cut it. Which one is? That's the Vulcan VR1. Let's see, what do we got in here that's better than a VR1? Here's one thing we can look at. What would it look like if I just went ahead and increased this 2.5? Well, it's just a single click there, isn't it? And bottom single click there. Let's pull this off. Let's pull this out. Let's put that one on there. Let's see what this does for us. Okay, need to set this one up, configure it correctly. Yeah, max thrust 229. Oh, well, I did that wrong. No, kerosene liquid oxygen, Matt. Come on, you know better. Okay, so this one, sea level thrust, it's only half. That's not so great, is it? Okay, sea level thrust, that's close to what we're after, and pretty close in terms of delta V as well. Give that a couple clicks, give this one a couple clicks. And delta V is very, very close. We just don't have enough boostage at the moment. But it's looking pretty close. Let's start with just one of these on each side, because I'm thinking we're gonna grow it, make it bigger. Yeah, like that. Let's increase, because these little engines ain't gonna cut it, so we're probably going to go with a 1.25 meter engine. So diameter. Go ahead and go to 1.25. Propulsion. And, okay, so we've got these various things we can take a look at. What's our thrust to weight ratios? Down to 1.04, just barely breaking even at the moment. Let's try this one out. See what this does for us. Okay, now delta V stats is over what we need. And our thrust to weight ratio, that's actually too high. That's high enough it's going to give us, we're going to run into problems with that. Which was the nothing special lightweight engine. This guy. Let's go with this guy, see what this does for us. Thrust to weight ratio, sea level 1.39. Oh, that's just almost exactly what we're after. I bet you if we actually and those will run for 46 seconds. That's okay. Those, I don't know, those boosters look kind of goofy, don't they? I suppose we shouldn't get really too hung up on the looks of them. They just bug me that they look so goofy. I know I shouldn't let the aesthetics of these things bug me so much as they do. It's a flaw. Is it worth taking a look at making those be some SRBs instead? I may be able to get away with them being like longer and skinnier and looking less goofy. Let's save what I have at the moment. Discard these, and let's experiment with these SRBs. How about that one, huh? What if we start? That looks, just proportions-wise, that looks better. We'll start with them like that. And go ahead and stick some nose cones on them while I'm here. There we go. That's better. And proportions, just visually, the proportion-wise are starting to make sense. I'm a big fan that if it looks right, it'll probably fly right. This doesn't just apply to airplanes. I imagine it should also apply to rockets. Okay, thrust to weight ratio very, very close to where I want it to be. 36-second burn on those, though. That's kind of disappointing. See what this does for us. A 48-second burn is more reasonable. 1.32. Okay, here, let's go with... There, that looks better. Okay, 146. Okay, now our initial thrust is perfect. They burn for an even 1 minute. Still got a little bit too much fuel, but that's okay. That's actually okay. Okay, it's good. Let's go for a test launch of Atlatl 2 and see how well this will work, huh? Alright, here we go. Precision controls on, SCS is on. As nav ball, we had different nav balls earlier. This is one that I made myself, and I am so proud. I am as proud as a little kid who helped his mom bake a cake or something. I helped. I did it. Yeah, it took several hours, but it works. Yeah, you can see in the MechJab lab, I went through all those autopilots, got rid of it. I don't think I have any left. I'll go back and take a closer look sometime, see if there's any really useful functions that I also turned off in my zeal to be rid of anything resembling an autopilot. All right, enough of that. Okay, there's main engine light, and there's our boosters. We take off. Go ahead, once we start climbing, we'll lean over towards east just a little bit. As soon as we're a couple degrees off, start a slow roll. Okay, yeah. Pulling about 1.5 Gs right there, so that is okay. And acceleration gradually picking up. We'll start easing it on back. And when you're launching with something using the Ferrum's aerospace research, you don't do what the stock thing is. Where I suppose you what you're supposed to like go straight up for what is it, like 10 kilometers, something like that. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of really weird, ridiculous stuff that you do if you're trying to do an inefficient launch in the ridiculous aerodynamics of the stock game. Boosters are almost done. Get rid of those, and are stayed at this point. Now we've still got pretty close to 2 Gs acceleration. As we go flying through the clouds, aren't those clouds so incredibly cool? We're about like half a degree off of our inclination here, dudes. Fix that. Let's keep on pulling back. I don't have any specific formula in mind over exactly how fast you should do this gravity turn, how many degrees per second, or I really don't know exactly what is the most efficient way to do that. I just kind of kind of feel it. I know that really I'm looking for, I want my apoapsis to be, you know, climbing up out of the atmosphere by the time I get pretty close to horizontal. That's about as much as I think about exactly the correct way to do it. So far, this thing handles like a dream. No bad habits, you know? I'm pulling 2.5 Gs. If it starts to get there towards 3 Gs, I'll start limiting that throttle some. And doesn't that just look cool? I figured out I have enough RAM. I actually went and got the higher definition textures for the planets themselves. I'm just skirting, really skating right on the edge of the RAM limits doing that, but it works for me. I like it. And we're about to climb out of the atmosphere just real soon. And that's something that also we saw with Atlatl 1 is just, okay, about the time we got rid of the payload fairings, first stage was almost done. Okay, there that is. So, light all that. Throttle up. Twin engines of our upper stage, our space stage, are working correctly. Pitch up a little bit more because I'm looking at the time to apoapsis, and now it's holding pretty steady. And I want to take this all the way up to an orbit at 200 kilometers altitude and see exactly how much delta V is remaining in my vehicle. I can get rid of that far window now. Pull this over here. That's good. Periapsis sweeps around the positive numbers. Just bump this up to 200. Just exactly 200. Let's fix that camera. Thank you. Okay, we are in orbit, and there we have total. Yeah, we've got 775 meters per second, and wow, we've got a lot more of the RCS delta V than I was figuring on. Okay, so time to apoapsis, 34 minutes. Let's do some time compression. Oh, one thing I was forgetting. Here we got the sunrise coming up, and this one has the extendable solar panels. They're not extending. Oh, that's right, because I've got the action groups extended, and sometimes weird things happen. I don't know. I'm really on the fence about this mod. Sometimes it does things, or it doesn't do things I would want it to do. You have to get everything in there like that. Try it now. Yeah, there we go. Get ourselves some electrical generation happening. Yeah, and the reaction wheel has enough oomph to move things around fairly nicely. You know, it's not twitchy, but it's not sluggish either. I'd say it's got just about the right amount of torque, so that makes me happy. Okay, there is a 200-kilometer circular orbit. We have lots of RCS remaining. Our total delta V is 740. What our target was like 500, right? So that is extremely good. This is, I'd call this a 100% successful vehicle. And you know, the overall goal with this line of vehicles, with the Atlatl series, is I really want these upper stages. This thing could be useful for, you know, even if I wanted to send a probe of some kind to the moon. This can be not only an upper stage, but, you know, add just a little bit more fuel to it, and this could be, you know, could boost something to the moons, or even a very lightweight probe. I suppose we could go ahead and take something. Say if I want to go put something in orbit over Duna, I bet you we could use this for a small probe. It has, you know, docking ports, so it has expandability up once in orbit. We can add more fuel, add more stuff to it, add more capabilities. Wonder how much equivalent airspeed it takes to rip those solar panels off. We've got the, you know, super professional grade, high durability solar panels in this one. Oh, one of our engines is getting too hot. That was an interesting effect. Everything but our solar panels is going to pop. Okay, cool. I have to think that that is a bug that the solar panels kept working.